Rutgers Scarlet Knights take the floor. Rutgers 21-5 at home over the last 2 seasons. Welcome to Big East basketball from the rack in Piscataway, New Jersey. The Rutgers Scarlet Knights host the Villanova Wildcats. Good evening, everybody. Kenny Albert along with Jim Spanarkel. Jim, the Wildcats off to a terrific start, 3-0 in Big East play. Their best conference start in 5 seasons. And tonight, a homecoming of sorts for freshman Randy Foye, last year's State Player of the Year here in New Jersey.
Well, Kenny, he started out the season very strongly. He has stepped up his play in Big East action for Jay Wright and company. 3-0, but he's really stepped up playing the point and looking for his shots, scoring 18 points a game in Big East Conference. Very confident with the basketball at the offensive end. One thing, though, on this floor here at the rack, he has to be careful with his turnovers, about 4 per game. The rack and the Rutgers defense is pretty difficult to contend with.
And Jim, on the other side, Rutgers with an 0-2 record in Big East play, but they've lost to a couple of top 10 opponents in a big game against Notre Dame Tuesday for Lamizana.
Well, Lamizana has been doing a lot for this Rutgers basketball team, both at the offensive end where he has a nice little spin move down low so he can post it up, but defensively he will block many shots. He's 6th in the country right now. Smart and fast enough to get out on the break where he can dunk the basketball. But Villanova is a very good rebounding team. He can get up and down on the offensive glass, so Villanova will have to block him out.
And the numbers on Lamizana last year versus this season. Irve averaging 11 points, 6.5 rebounds per game. We will also keep our eye on a couple of Wrights. They're not brothers. Ricky of Villanova and Kareem of Rutgers.
Game time. Over. My house.
Tonight's game is being brought to you by Dodge. Dodge, grab life by the horns. By Conagra Foods, we set America's table at home and away. And by Hyundai, where driving is believing. Come test drive the full lineup of exciting new cars at your local Hyundai dealer today. Sellout crowd on hand here at the rack. Rutgers with a record of 8-6 overall, 0-2 in conference play. Losses to number 5 Pitt and number 9 Notre Dame. Villanova at 10-5, 3-0 in the Big East. Wildcats will start Ricky Wright, Jason Frazier, Derek Snowden, Randy Foye, and Gary Buchanan for the Scarlet Knights. Irve Lamizana, Ricky Shields, Sean Aksani up front, Jerome Coleman, and Mike Sherrod in the backcourt. Wildcats under second-year head coach Jay Wright. Their first 3-0 start in Big East play in 5 seasons. Their best conference start since joining the Big East. They were 6-0 during the 81-82 season. Wildcats in Jay Wright's inaugural campaign last year, 19-13. Went to the NIT, lost to Temple in the quarterfinals. And on the other side, Gary Waters in his second season here at Rutgers after 5 years at Kent. In fact, in his only previous appearance against Villanova with Kent, Gary Waters' club defeated the Wildcats back in the 2000 NIT.
Well, one of the things he would like to see Gary Waters early on in this basketball game is for his team to establish a strong intensity level at the defensive end of the floor.
Opening tap controlled by the Scarlet Knights. Rutgers coming off the 68-57 loss in South Bend on Tuesday. Again, they led with 12.5 minutes remaining before losing by 11. This is Sean Aksani starting for the 3rd straight game. Jerome Coleman was 0 for 7 from 3 on Tuesday. This is his first attempt tonight.
And generally when you're struggling from long range, Kenny, you want to start to get the basketball going towards the basket instead of settling.
Ricky Wright gives Villanova the early lead. Nice touch from the outside.
Yeah, Ricky Wright has really worked on his conditioning, good size underneath the basket. Also has really stepped up his play in the first 3 games of Big East Conference play for Villanova. He was struggling a little bit before the Big East Conference started. Step.
Mike Sherrod called for traveling. And that is Sherrod's first turnover in conference play. Did not turn the ball over in 55 minutes against Pitt or Notre Dame.
Yeah, against Brandon Knight. You know, doing a pretty good job. Chris Thomas, so you're right. That's a long way to go. It's so important to be good with the basketball.
And now a blocking foul as Lamazana came over to help out and made contact with Randy Foy.
Stepping it up a little bit. You look at those numbers. Sherrod with 42 last year, half that this year.
Another foul called underneath. It's Lamazana again. It's his second in the first minute, too.
Does that ever change the complexion of this basketball game? Let's take a look. Hard to tell from that particular angle right there, but
Lamazana sits down, and now an offensive foul as Kareem Wright checked in, and he was knocked to the floor by Jason Frazier.
A little crazy. The other night when Villanova played St. John's, Kenny, fouls were plentiful. It was a 2.5-hour game. Generally, these games last about 2 hours.
The steal by Buchanan, and he hits the 3.
Well, good heads-up play there. And Nova, which plays about 99% at the time, and here's another turnover at the man-to-man end.
Buchanan with his second straight 3, and Villanova out to an 8-0 lead.
Well, Buchanan has the stroke, the all-time leader in Villanova history, surpassing Kerry Kittles, and man, they were 2 good-looking strokes, weren't they? And it's all predicated by this tough full-court man-to-man defense. Good recovery, pull-up jumper. Look at the extension. You see the follow-through? Look at the follow-through. It's just fabulous from the corner just then. And here they come again. Let's see if he holds that follow-through again. Good rotation. Boy, good start by Nova, huh? This is a team that's making people take a look at them.
Averaging over 11 steals per game their last 7. This not the start Gary Waters had in mind. We've played a minute 20. Rutgers Jim has turned the ball over 3 times, and Lamazana on the bench with 2 personal fouls.
You look at that last graphic there, Kenny. They're at +7 in turnover, so it's generally what they're doing to other teams. Look at this double team. That's going to go the other way, too. So Shields lowering the left shoulder to try to get out of the double team.
The 4th Rutgers turnover in a minute 27. First Wildcat substitution. Alan Ray, the freshman out of the Bronx, checking in early for the Wildcats, who lead Rutgers 8-0. He replaces Snowden. This is Ray. Gains a step on Shields to a wide open Frazier. 10-0 Villanova.
Well, Alan Ray has been really doing a terrific job for Nova. He's actually scoring a little bit better consistently throughout the course of the season compared to the other freshmen, but his real heady play has helped this team. Wow, another turnover. That was about 6 steps going through the lane.
Make it 5 Scarlet Knight turnovers in 2 minutes. Villanova now with 3 freshmen on the floor. All from the New York metropolitan area. Frazier out of Amityville, Foy out of Newark, New Jersey, and Alan Ray from the Bronx, St. Raymond's High School, and now the offensive foul is called on Foy.
Very, very tightly contested here at the defensive end, and the officials are setting a tone early. You know, keep the hands off. And that was a charge, but that's predicated by the tough defense up tight. Guys just bumping through people because they're allowing them to belly up a little bit.
Tom Lopes, Jim Heaney, Will Bush, the officials.
Wow, it's incredible, isn't it?
Turnover number 6 committed by the Scarlet Knights.
There's a nice step through just then also. But the alarm clock has not gone off yet for Rutgers.
As you mentioned, Rutgers first in the Big East in turnover margin at +7 per game. They've committed 6 so far tonight and trail 10-0. And now Kareem Wright, who has not started now the last 3 games in order to keep him out of early foul trouble, checks in due to the 2 personals on Lamazana and commits his first just 2.5 minutes in.
Yeah, we saw Gary Waters on the sidelines just then. He is livid over there. Calm down just a touch right now, but I think, where are we playing this game right now? Is this in Rutgers or is it at Villanova? Because the calls are going against Rutgers and also the play going against them with the turnovers.
Here's Buchanan, who's already hit 2 from downtown. Rebounded by Aksani.
They have forced that one just a little bit.
Coleman driving. Rutgers finally on the board.
A big sigh of relief to find out that their basket does not have a lid on it, but you know, they really haven't gotten many shots off anyway. It's not the lid down there, it's the turnovers that are not allowing them to get many attempts.
Scarlet Knights finally score after committing 6 turnovers.
Right, very close to picking up another one.
Another 3. Allen Ray hitting from downtown. It's the 3rd 3-point field goal for the Wildcats.
There was a guy in this league, Ray Allen, who did the same thing a couple of years back with UConn. Nice stroke. The young guys are shooting the ball very well. They just have to be careful with their shot selection. Reverse
the name, Allen Ray. And now Frazier is whistled for his 2nd personal foul and will sit down. Marcus Austin, number 44, checks in. Derek Snowden back in the game, and number 34, the 4th member of this heralded crew of freshmen, Curtis Sumter, out of Bishop Laughlin High School in Brooklyn, has checked in for the first time.
Yeah, he gives Jay Wright a lot of energy, especially at the defensive end.
Coleman off the back of the rim, strong rebound, pulled down by Snowden. Ray pulls up, rebounded by Shields, knocked away, and the Wildcats regain. Snowden pulls up, rebounded by Coleman.
Villanova, the young guys are taking a lot of shots from the outside.
Offensive foul, Mike Sherrod. The 7th Rutgers turnover.
Now that was a tough one. That's a bang-bang play on the side there and down by the baseline. But boys, Rutgers is really struggling right now to try to find some chemistry, some flow at the offensive end of the floor.
Now the officials hearing it from this sold-out crowd. We've played 4 minutes. Villanova leading Rutgers 13-2.
Oh, there's a step.
Ricky Wright called for traveling. A wild start here at the rack. Timeout on the floor. We'll be back. The Villanova Wildcats on the road, looking to continue their perfect start in conference play. They forced 7 turnovers in the first 4 minutes.
Well, they were doing it at the defensive end, obviously, but the other part of it, too, is speaking with Jay Wright. I know you had a little conversation with him also, Kenny, in terms of not being intimidated by the crowd. His team comes in here very early in this basketball game and showing both of us, at any rate, that not really concerned about the RAC crowd. And right now, the RAC crowd is pretty subdued, trying to figure out what's going on with their team on the floor. Wow, look at this. Just barely caught that one, huh?
This is number 44, Calvin Wooten, the freshman out of Detroit, who has checked in for Rutgers. Joel Wiggin also in the game, number 13. Wiggin guarded by Curtis Sumter.
It's a good move by Gary Waters, just to get some new guys on the floor, see if they can get a little chemistry.
Wiggin takes it all the way.
Wow, they let the play on that one. There was a huge amount of contact on that drive to the basket.
Villanova's lead is 9-13-4.
Rutgers changing it up, going full court with a little trapping right there, trying to rattle Villanova, maybe get a deflection. Villanova has to continually look down low, too. There you go.
It's good, and the foul. Marcus Austin with a strong move to the hoop, the sophomore out of Irvington, New Jersey. And he was fouled by Sean Aksani.
That's very good judgment by Villanova and their coaching staff after that break. The last couple of trips down the floor, they settled for outside shots. Here you see them trying to take it right down the middle of the floor. So a pretty good adjustment just then by Jay Wright and company. times the young players in particular, Kenny, will settle for shots. You know, you can always get an 18 or 20-foot jumper. You know, that's an easy shot to get in basketball. The tough ones are when you want to plug it down into the paint area. That's how you win basketball games.
Ball knocked out by Snowden. Villanova, Andrew Sullivan in the game for the first time, replacing Ricky Wright. Villanova leading 15-4, 5 minutes in. On the rack in Piscataway. Coleman from way out.
They need the shots going towards the basket. They don't need long-range shots. Once again, to repeat myself, you can always get that shot if you want it. You're down 15-4, get something going towards the basket.
Technical foul called on Wooten.
Now the fans aren't going to like this call, Kenny, but I think it's the correct call, because if we caught it, and I'm not sure if we did or not, Wooten took the basketball after that little flick and it goes out of bounds, and he stuck it in his chest to raise chest. The official's standing right there, and that's the right thing to do. Get this thing under control. Because you start off the game with a lot of fouls, whether some people in the building, mostly Rutgers fans, thinking some are questionable. Players getting a little anxious early on in this basketball game. Watch after the steal. Now watch what Wooten does. Ray's standing there minding his own business, and he rams it in his chest, and that provokes the elbow to come up, which is provoked. So there's the technical. It's a good call.
I agree. Ray will head to the line. Ray's 67% free throw shooter, averaging just over 10 per game.
Gary Waters has just made one big decision in this basketball game, Kenny, at 14 and a half minutes after this next free throw, or technical rather, is missed. Lamazana is coming into this basketball game. Played, what did he play? Just a couple of seconds over a minute. Picked up a couple of fouls. So obviously, this is a risk at this point in this basketball game. He must stay clear of his third foul.
Checks back in with Rutgers trailing by 12. We've only played 5.5 minutes.
Nice cut.
Foy. Austin on the boards. Villanova by 14.
Well, they've been averaging 17 rebounds on the offensive end per game, and they are just all over the glass.
Wildcats have been out-rebounded only 3 times their first 15 games.
See the penetration. You can get the outside shots. You can't always get those 12 and 13 footers, but what they do is they free up your guys, because the defenders now are reacting defensively, and it allows seams and pockets to open up on the offensive glass.
Wooten driving, pulls up. Austin throws it back out as Rutgers Jim gets a new 35.
Just can't get a real good shot. A little frantic still at the offensive end.
Rutgers shooting only 29% from the field. They've turned the ball over 7 times.
They have to play this first half now in like 3-minute sets, Kenny, where they have to just chop into this lead and get it respectable by the half.
Austin backing in on Wright.
Pretty good composure down on the blocks just then. Wright was right there. He's a big guy. He uses that body at about 270 pounds to root people out of the post. Boy, does Nova ever have it going right now.
Villanova up by 16 with over 13 minutes remaining in this first half. And the Wildcats continuing their strong play. They've won their first 3 Big East games. Ended a 9-game road losing streak on Wednesday against St. John's. Off to a terrific start tonight.
Watch how patient Marcus Austin is here. He looks, nothing. Then he brings the ball away to get a shot off. So very, very patient against Wright down low. Watch the ball come towards us right there, just to get it over the extended arms of Wright. He's just putting his hands straight up. And Wright, that's the smart thing to do defensively. The way the whistles have been blowing early on here, you just want to go up and not keep your arms swinging. Austin already with 6 points, 3 for 3, his season high already. It's a good effort for Jay Wright. I mean, his team really looks confident on the road right now.
Austin out of Irvington, New Jersey. St. Patrick's High School in Elizabeth. Now called on Sumter as he came over. to double team Wigan. Sumter's first personal. Rutgers with Sherrod, Wigan, Lamazana, Coleman, and Wright as they trail by 16 just 7 minutes in.
Straight up, once again, about 99% of the time, Nova comes at you man-to-man.
Coleman hits from 3.
Maybe that'll pump a little life into their energy level at the defensive end as they come up full court again.
Wildcats have trouble getting it in. They finally do, and Foy is called for traveling.
Exactly what Rutgers wanted. Gary Waters wanted to switch up again with the full court. Haven't had many chances because his team has not made many buckets. But once they did, they recognized, got up there, and they forced the turnover. Good work on the sidelines. Now they have to get another basket, Kenny. Get a couple in a row going.
Sherrod looking for Wright.
Good catch by Wright. That was a tough pass.
Lamazana spins and is rejected by Sullivan. Woo. Here comes Snowden. Pulls out. And the rebound grab by Coleman of Rutgers.
See, that's the kind of shot on the road I think you want to make sure that you pull that one back out there. Maybe a little rushed. Because of that factor just then. And Coleman's starting to get a little warmed up. That last shot by Snowden allowed Rutgers to come back and get consecutive baskets. But now it's starting to shift a little bit. Let's see how Rutgers reacts with their fans.
Sumter from 3.
It's a nice way to answer. Nice way to answer. Young guys playing well.
The 4th three-point field goal for Villanova over the first 8 minutes. Sherrod spinning into the paint, lays it in.
A little mix and match, too, by Rutgers now. They recognize they want to go towards the glass a little bit also, but that's what Nova has to do. They have the 17 fouls against Rutgers.
Buchanan with his 3rd three-point field goal has 9 points over the first 8.5 minutes.
Came in 10 three-pointers ahead of Kerry Kittles. He's saying, bye-bye, Kerry.
Led the Big East last year at 42% from beyond the arc. Here's Wright in the paint. Nice soft touch.
And he's given them nice numbers over the first 2 Big East games also. Scoring in double digits in both games. He's really elevated himself and playing well down low.
His first back-to-back games in double figures in his 4-year Rutgers career.
13 against Pitt, 11 in that Notre Dame game.
Kept alive by Buchanan. Shot clock down to 12.
Fans are chanting it down. Oh, you know what? Wow.
Villanova now 6 of 7 from three-point range.
Kenny, did you notice in the background that the fans chopped 5 seconds off the shot clock just then, and they were down to 3? I don't know if Snowden heard them or not. Doesn't matter right now.
It just backfired.
Yeah, it sure did.
Coleman from 3 on the other end.
For a game that started out very slowly in the first 3 minutes with the whistles blowing, now the guys have just settled in. They understand what the officials are going to call. Both ends of the floor playing pretty well offensively.
Coleman with 10 of Rutgers' 16 points. Villanova leading by 13. Remember, Lamazana has 2 fouls. This could be number 3. It is.
Coming over the top. That's what the officials are looking for. 2 hands coming down. I thought Austin just then may have gotten away with a quick hook down on the baseline. Lamazana is going to plead in a nice fashion, but he's not going to win. And Gary Waters has a decision. It really isn't a decision. He's just got to get him out of there. It's like Exani's waiting to come in. Here he comes.
Ricky Shields also checking back in for Rutgers. Lamazana and Wiggins sit down. Wholesale substitutions for Villanova as well.
Their left arm came around just a little bit. Yeah, the problem with Lamazana just then is that he's not actually creating the contact, but by having his hands over the shoulders of the shooter, he's putting himself in a tough defensive spot.
3 personals for Lamazana. Wildcats doing it from long range. Villanova leading Rutgers by 15, and they have been on fire from three-point range, hitting 6 of 7 so far.
It's been a great start overall, but Buchanan really got them fired up with his first 2, and then it became contagious. Good ball movement. They just keep stepping further and further out, whether it's straight on, a little extra pass here. Wooten goes deep from the left side, and man, they are on a roll, aren't they? And Rutgers just has to weather the storm. Keep in mind, it's their home floor. Hopefully they can get something going, is the way they would think about it from their perspective. Get these fans involved so they can chop into this 15-point lead.
Buchanan leading the way for the Wildcats with 9 points, 3 of 4 from downtown. Marcus Austin 8 points off the bench for Rutgers. Jerome Coleman has 10. Sherrod lost the handle and then able to knock it out of bounds off Allen Ray.
And Rutgers has settled down a little bit the first 4 minutes. They had those 7 turnovers, but now playing turnover free over the last 6 minutes, so they're a little more comfortable on the floor.
Sherrod had the wide open 3, instead pulls up from 2, and it's rebounded by Randy Foy.
Some people ask sometimes, why not just shoot that out open shot? But he didn't have his body language, didn't look real good there. Good step in by Rutgers here for the defense.
Foy turns it over.
Shields a factor.
Shields over Foy, back of the rim. Grabbed by Aksani. Shields, Wright did not expect the pass. And now Coleman pulls it back out. 9 minutes to go, first half. Rutgers trailing Villanova by 15. Screen set by Aksani. Coleman, in and out. Rebounded by Buchanan.
Well, that's long range, wasn't it?
On the other end, Randy Foy makes it 7 of 8 from three-point range for the Wildcats.
I've only seen him play this week twice with the St. John's game, Kenny, and also tonight. But when he gets 1 or 2 dribbles underneath his belt, he really accelerates into his jump and gets good lift with strength to shoot that jumper.
Randy Foy out of Newark East Side High School. State Player of the Year here in New Jersey last season.
Watch when he gets a dribble or 2 here. Watch. 1 dribble and up. Look at the elevation. Good strength in that jump. Well, it's a good-looking player early on. Young kid who's really stepped into the stride in Big East play.
Scored 20 against St. John's on Wednesday. His second 20-point game in 3 conference games. Villanova 3-0 in the conference, 10-5 overall.
Boy also hit 4 big shots at the free throw line coming down the stretch. Villanova.
8th Rutgers turnover. Buchanan from 3 again. This one off the back of the rim. Faced down by Aksani.
I think Nova should be going more towards the glass.
Wooten from 3.
See, one of the things when you play with this big lead, now granted they've been knocking down threes, but I still don't think Nova wants to just come down and settle for a quick one. Work a little time off the clock, get guys involved, getting the touches, and look for something down low first, and then if you kick it back out, that's fine.
Battle going on underneath. Aksani knocks right to the floor. Austin double teamed, and Jason McCoy got a piece of it.
Maybe they should kick it out and settle for the threes. What do I know?
Here's Wooten. Kept alive by McCoy, and then Foy ahead of the field for Buchanan.
Once again, the ragged offensive set just then allows Nova to come up with that quick steal, and off to the races they go.
Foul called on Ray as he made contact with Shields. Number 1 on Allen Ray. A timeout with 7:09 remaining. First half, all Villanova. Villanova out on top, 36-19. Time now to take a look at the Conagra Foods Big East standings.
And there they sit, huh? The Eastern Division leaders, Villanova with a 3-0 start. Not to say that this one's over, a long way to go, but Connecticut, Providence, St. John's battling back this afternoon. Take a look at the West with Pitt, a tough defensive team, Syracuse, Notre Dame. I mean, Georgetown was up pretty big in that game this afternoon. St. John's came battling back. The Marcus Hatton show wasn't all that bad, huh? Down the stretch in particular.
Now we'll have a look at today's scores from around the conference. Coming up at halftime, Villanova leading Rutgers here 36-19 off the inbounds. Wooten, nice touch. His second three-point field goal for the freshman out of Detroit, who attended the same high school as his coach, Gary Waters.
He's giving him that lift. That's what he's looking for. Waters is looking for somebody to give them a lift. Nice look. Oof.
Austin gets the roll and will head to the line.
It just continues to go well. Every time Rutgers comes down and gets something to go, good for them. Villanova comes right back, plugging it. Now, this is what I meant before. They have to plug it down low to get a couple of tests down deep so they don't just settle for that long-range shot and allow Rutgers to get back in this basketball game.
Austin has matched his career high and now sets a new career high with 11 first-half points.
Good tip right there. No double tip, though. Goes the same way.
Villanova by 17. Rutgers has already lost more games here at home, Jim, this year than they did all of last season when they finished 15-2 at the rack. This year, 6-3. Wooten from three again.
Boy, is he really finding the range. Nova better find him before too long.
Three-point field goals for the freshman Calvin Wooten. McCoy is called for the foul. His first.
So once again, Kenny, it's one of those things where Rutgers just has to work on chipping into this lead, try to get it under 10 points or so before the half expires.
Well, on Tuesday night in South Bend, Wooten battling the stomach flu, scored 9 points in a span of 2.5 minutes, but could not play the rest of the game due to the illness.
So he has shown us then, and he has shown us tonight, that he can light it up pretty quickly. Will make Villanova make some adjustments to stay on top of it.
And like Austin on the other side, Wooten has matched his career high in the first half with 9 points. So Lightning hit a bottle off the bench on both sides.
Very quiet in here, though, isn't it? Subdued crowd here tonight in the rack so far.
And they both wear number 44, Austin and Wooten. Ricky Shields off balance, able to hit.
You just keep the info coming, huh?
Well, Austin with 11 points off the bench, number 44 for Villanova, and Wooten 9 off the bench, number 44 for Rutgers.
Kenny
Something
Albert,
in the air.
Kenny Albert on top of the numbers tonight.
14-point lead for the Wildcats. Ray from three. It's now a 17-point game, and Villanova continues their outstanding shooting from long range. Now 8 for 10 from three.
Maybe Jay Wright knew something with the vibes of his team coming in here this evening, but they have not been intimidated at all on the road. Maybe they're too young to know what the rack is really all about, Kenny. That's the only thing I can think of. Boy, but they are just playing past everything.
As you said, the rack very quiet so far tonight. Villanova got out to a 10-0 lead. Forced 7 turnovers the first 4 minutes. I know you don't want to look at this one.
I'm just turning away right now. What happened?
Number 2, Arizona, all over UCLA.
Well, UCLA continues to struggle. It's a good win again for Pitt.
Early lead for number 4, Texas, over their interstate rivals. 10-point victory for number 5, Oklahoma. How about that?
Well, North Carolina coming back and making up for last year's debacle up in Stores. Carolina lost to them last year, Kenny. I think the score was close to 40, the final score. They lost to Jim Calhoun and company. It could have been one of those nights where Connecticut could have won by 70 if they kept everybody on the floor, but Carolina comes roaring back with their young squad.
Tar Heels won an all-time low 8 games last season.
Tough day for Notre Dame also. Kentucky on their home floor.
It will be Rutgers basketball Deflected out off Snowden. Scarlet Knights looking to chip away at a 17-point first half deficit here at home.
Let's see what they can do. We're under 5 minutes right now. Let's see if they can chop right into it and see how they end up this half.
The only meeting this season between the Wildcats and the Scarlet Knights. Coleman short. Villanova leading the all-time series, 18 wins to 5. They did not play last year. From 3, Snowden short, rebounded by Wright. It's good, and the foul. Ricky Wright fouled by Kareem Wright. That's Kareem Wright's second personal.
See, one of the things that Villanova understands and why they rebound well is that they know their perimeter players are going to take those types of shots. So guys like Ricky Wright start to funnel towards the basket looking for offensive rebounds, and that's why their numbers have been pretty good on the glass. I should say they've been very good on the glass.
Ricky Wright, called by his head coach, Jay Wright, the heart and soul of this Wildcats club. One of their leaders completes the three-point play and extends Villanova's lead to 20. It's their biggest lead of the night. Lamazana on the bench with 3 personal fouls. 4.5 remaining. First half from the rack.
Good cut back door.
Kareem Wright, and he will head to the free throw line. Fouled by Curtis Sumter.
A little bit of motion away from the basketball that trip for Rutgers just then. Bodies moving without the basketball. A little backdoor cut to start things off with the good delivery right here. And then another good delivery with Wright positioning himself very well. Good tracking of the basketball by Wright just then. Sometimes the big fellas forget about where the ball is, believe it or not. They're too late to get to a good spot on the floor.
And Jim, that's the first free throw attempt by the Scarlet Knights in the game. Wildcats have attempted 9.
And they have nine attempts against Notre Dame earlier. 5 for 9. So they're not. Whoa, brother! Whoa, brother! Woo! Boy, oh boy. Kenny, you said they're not brothers, the Wright brothers, earlier in your open, and boy, that was a huge, huge hit. Wow.
Number 3 on Kareem Wright. And he will sit down, replaced by Sean Aksani. Another Wright. So many Wrights in the building. Kareem Wright, Ricky Wright, Jay Wright.
We're going to go into the stands and find another Wright tonight before it's all over.
Here's Ricky Wright.
Good look.
And Wright again. Now with 7. Villanova by 22.
Good dish just then, too, by Buchanan. Following up, tracking things in the paint area.
Sherrod to Aksani. And the foul called underneath. This one on Ricky Wright. It's his first.
His first personal.
Sean Aksani will head to the free throw line. Only 9 of 21, under 50% from the line this season. Junior out of Red Bank, New Jersey, who has started the last 3 games for Kareem Wright. Marcus Austin, excuse me, Jim, back in for the Wildcats. He has scored 11 points off the bench.
I'll tell you one thing, too, with Villanova's bench, they're pretty deep. They have young guys. They have a nice blend of young guys and vets on the team with guys like Ricky Wright and Buchanan. But Jay Wright, their coach, not afraid to use the youngsters in their depth.
Jay Wright very happy about his club. He said last night, I like this group. I want to be patient with them. Coleman, off balance, rebounded by Sumter.
Now, that was not patient just then.
No. Here's Foy, wide open from 3.
Look at the offensive glass, huh?
Whoa! Austin blows the layup.
I did everything correct. Nice catch on the run. Foy, a factor getting back defensively. Getting a little ragged here. See what happens.
Marcus Austin now with a career-high 13 points.
They continue to stretch this lead, huh? 51-30 on Rutgers' home floor.
Under 3 minutes to go, first half. from the rack. Screen set by Shields. Here's Shields. Nice touch from 3.
Well, the only saving grace right now for Rutgers could be if they really find a way to play this last 2 minutes or so and get some kind of positive lift out of the last 2 minutes. Because the last, from the 5-minute mark to the 2-minute mark, has not been friendly to them. Let's see if they can at least get a last gasp here going into the half.
Randy Foy. Rebounded by Sherrod. 18-point Villanova lead. 2 minutes to go. First half. Exani on the boards. Rebounded by Austin.
And Nova will settle it down a little bit. Jay Wright wants to talk things over.
Thirty-second timeout called by the Villanova head coach, Jay Wright. 2-1 in his coaching career against Rutgers with Hofstra. Well, coming up on our halftime report, the Big East Wire. Today's Big East scoreboard and highlights and stats from the first half. Safe to assume, Jim, there will be many Villanova Wildcat highlights.
I would think you're right on that one. And I know you love the numbers, Kenny. Let me give you this one, right? The last 3 Big East games, Nova is averaging 85 points per game. You do the quick math on this 51 right now, and they're cracking the century mark at this pace. Not to say they're going to continue in the second half, but what a first half they've had.
Well on their way. Wildcats shooting 56% from the field, including 8 of 13 from 3. And they have forced 10 Rutgers turnovers. Lamazana in early foul trouble with 3 personals by the 10-minute mark.
Well, that really took him out of his game early.
Buchanan lost it. 7th Villanova turnover.
Need a good shot right here.
90 seconds to go in the half. Coleman takes it all the way. Exani stepped out.
Good effort, though, by both of those players just then, him and something.
Villanova by 18 here at the rack.
Check it out.
Game. Craig Smith of Boston College. This week's Dodge Tough Player of the Week.
I tell you, there are plenty of young players in this Big East this year who are making impacts early on. Can't wait to see some of these guys in mid and late February to see how they develop.
You just look down this Villanova roster with their 4 heralded freshmen. Foy averaging 11 points per game. Fraser averaging 9 points, 8 rebounds. Alan Ray doing a terrific job off the bench, as is Curtis Sumter.
It's one thing to get the 4 players, but it's another thing to get them to flow together, to work together, and be happy. And they have sure shown it so far in Big East play, and especially tonight.
And they've used the Seton Hall team of 2 years ago as an example of how not to act.
Yeah, you're right. That's a good point. Very good point. Guys come in and just lost control in that locker room in particular.
Under a minute to go in the half. Here's Shields. In and out. Gets his own rebound and is fouled. Sullivan is called for his first, so Ricky Shields will head to the free throw line.
And give Rutgers credit, though. They're still working at both ends of the floor. And Gary Waters just has a choice going in at halftime. Light them up with a riot act, or just kind of pull them together and say, listen, guys, let's get that behind us and go out and really start from the first second of the second half and go after it.
Shields has now hit 17 in a row. What do you think his philosophy will be?
I think I'd go riot act. That's what I would do, I think. That's why I'm sitting up here with you. It doesn't matter, does it? But I would. I think I'd try to light them up a little bit at halftime. And I don't know if I'd keep them in there all that long. I'd get them back out on the floor and get their heads into playing basketball again. I'm sure he will.
16-point game. Half minute remaining. 2-second differential. Shot clock and game clock. Down to 20 seconds.
Almost last possession here, Kenny. Important for Rutgers to get a stop right here to at least give them a little bit of a lift. As they've been searching for lifts here in the first half.
10 seconds.
There you
The
go.
steal by Wooten. Wooten takes it all the way.
He came down funny, too. He's jogging back. He's limping, too.
Right from three. It's good at the buzzer.
The way it started is the way it was finished by Ricky Wright. Nova just ripping away from long range.
So after the steal and layup by Wooten with 5 seconds left, Ricky Wright answers on the other end with Villanova's 9th three-point field goal of the first half. 9 of 14 from downtown. And the Wildcats lead at the half by 17. The officials hearing it from the crowd as they exit the floor. Our halftime report is coming up next.
Banquet presents
The Villanova Wildcats quieted the crowd from the outset here at the rack in Piscataway. Villanova leading Rutgers by 17 at halftime. As we welcome you back, time now, Jim, to take a look at the first half highlights brought to you by Hyundai.
Well, Villanova got off early, Kenny, and they really started shooting the basketball pretty well. Buchanan from long range really finding the stroke, and that really set the tone for this Villanova team. The other side of the floor, though, Coleman came back at a pretty good half, trying to give Rutgers a little bit of a lift. But Austin was a big factor with 13 points in 11 minutes. And the work on the offensive glass, a team, Ricky Wright just then, a team that's averaging 17 offensive rebounds per game in the Big East, and not too shabby on the glass just then.
Villanova sizzling, shooting 9 of 14 from three-point land, 58% from the field overall.
And you look at the three-point shooting, 9 of 14, just lighting it up. Rutgers not so bad, but I don't know if I'm in love with the shot selection with the fast break points also for Villanova. Really getting down the floor, and take a look at that bottom line. Second chance opportunities, 10-0. That's a huge number, especially on the road.
Second half coming up. Villanova leading Rutgers by the score of 54-37. What will the second half bring? Here's a look at that three-point field goal right at the end of the half by Villanova's Ricky Wright.
And Kenny, the key thing right now is the shot on your right. Shot clock goes to 0 right there, the game clock. But the ball, really, you have to watch for listen for the horn, which we won't see, but the red light behind the basket. You see the red light just lit up, and that ball still looks like it's in his hand to my eye. Now, the officials have the opportunity to go over and review that. They did not, and it's a review that's predicated by the officials also, and they make the call. Will Bush right there in the lower part of your screen making the call.
And if they were to review it, it's too late now. They must do it prior to going in at halftime.
Correct. He's jogging back. He's limping too.
Right from three. It's good at the buzzer.
The way it started.
So another look. That extended Villanova's lead to 17 at the half. And it's now a 19-point game. Randy Foy now with 5 points. Foy with Snowden, Wright, Buchanan, and Frazier on the floor for Villanova. Frazier played only 4 minutes, committed 2 early fouls in the first half. And the foul called on Snowden. It's his first personal. Rutgers starting the second half with Lamazana, Shields, Sherrod, Aksani, and Coleman. Lamazana played only 6 minutes and committed 3 personal fouls in the first half.
Well, that's the only thing on his stat sheet except for a missed field goal attempt, Kenny. So clearly they need him to find something here in the second half. And that's why we're going to see him get some touches to see if he can get on track.
Lamazana lost the handle.
Wow, was that ever close? I think, God, this is a great call from Tommy Lopes, way out at half court. Because from our perspective, we're about halfway up in the stands here watching this basketball game. But Wright clearly swung that right at the elbow. Jay Wright doesn't like it, but Ricky Wright was guilty of that one. Good catch just then by Tommy Lopes. The officials working together.
Got the elbow in on Aksani. Second personal on Ricky Wright. So 2 early fouls committed by Villanova here in the second half. Sherrod off the mark, rebounded by Buchanan. Gary Buchanan, 3 3-point field goals in the first half, 11 points. 3 Wildcats in double figures, and another 3 for Buchanan, his 4th of the game. Villanova now 10 of 15 from 3-point land.
Jay Wright's squad is looking to land a knockout punch early here. He's got his team coming out playing aggressively at both ends of the floor.
Lamazana from 3, no good.
Right.
And the foul called underneath. It's on Aksani.
And Wright was the recipient of that pull down just then. But look at Buchanan. One little dribble, get a little ball fake, get the defender going by and pull up for the jumper.
The Scarlet Knights first, team foul.
Aksani called for his 3rd. Villanova now leading by 22. Wildcats 3-0 in Big East play. Best conference start since the 97-98 season. Their best ever Big East start, 6-0 during the 81-82 campaign.
Rutgers in it. Looks like a 2-3 zone, has a little bit of a matchup tendency to it, but what'll happen right now is, though, it looks like Villanova will really just take the clock down. There was only 8 seconds left there, so Gary Waters understands that by going to the zone, he's trying to reach out a little bit further to stop this 3-point shooting, but Nova will take time off the clock.
Foul was called on Sherrod. Here's Foy from 3. Rebounded by Lamazana.
Good no dribble there to kick that ball up the floor.
Whoops. Coleman back out. Here's Shields. Pulls up, hits, and will head to the free throw line.
Somehow Rutgers has to get this building alive, Kenny. They really need like a 90-second spurt here to kind of find some rhythms, find something at the offensive end to bring this fan base back into the building and back onto the floor with them.
We thought they might have picked up the momentum with the steal and bucket by Wooten with 5 seconds left in the first half. That cut the lead to 14. But then Wright with that controversial 3-pointer at the buzzer brought it back up to 17.
And they just can't get on track.
Just over 2 minutes gone by, second half. It's Villanova leading by 19.
Once again, the 2-3 zone right now. It's spreading itself out. Get a little turnover. Now Rutgers really has to come down and get a good shot. They have to really focus. Uh-oh, the jacket's off. He's ready to go to work over there. Let's see if he can inspire his team.
Here's Shields from 3. Ricky Shields from downtown for the second time.
Kenny, I'm laughing a little bit because Gary Waters, after that shot was made, he was a good 3 strides out on the floor, waving his arms again, trying to get his team to pick things up.
So with the jacket off, Jim, it's 3-0 Rutgers.
There we go. We'll keep track of that.
Buchanan off the mark from 3.
You like these crazy stats, don't you?
You noticed the jacket.
Thank you.
Your jacket's been off for a while.
That's true. Once again, though, we're sitting up here where it's nice and comfortable. Here come the fans. They're starting to pour in right now. Let's see what happens.
Shields in and out. Rebounded by Foy. Shields got the hand in on Snowden. Good hustle. And Villanova will retain possession.
I would have liked to have heard, Kenny, the building if that shot went in just then, because a lot of people were getting ready to let rip.
You would have felt the building as well.
Exactly. They're starting to warm up in the stands. See if it can inspire, along with Coach Gary Waters, his Rutgers team on the floor.
Wildcats look to work the clock down. Shot clock now at 12. Wright got behind the defense and will head to the free throw line.
You see the high-low action just then. A terrific catch, but I think even a better pass by Frazier up top. Look at how far out he is, and look at that delivery. Away from the defender, and Ricky Wright catches and goes to the basket. And he plays at about 6'7", but he really uses that 6'7" body tremendously aggressively and really attacks the iron.
Wright with 12 points, just under his average. 3 consecutive double-doubles in conference play. Wright completes the 3-point play.
Nice little switch up here by Villanova. up, and boy, it's amazing. That's good work on the sidelines to get his team switching defenses. You're up almost 20 points. You come up with a little shake-up, full court action. You switch it up. You keep the opposition guessing, especially when they were starting to make a little bit of a confidence boost in their own offensive end of the floor.
Frazier sets the screen. Foy for Snowden. Derek Snowden extending Villanova's lead to 21.
He's got a little speed in those shoes, that's for sure. Nice pull-up along the baseline. And well, every time Gary Waters tries something on the sideline, it seems to backfire with the way they're playing offensively, Villanova.
Gary Waters calls timeout early second half from the rack. For information on your favorite Big East team, go online at www.bigeast.org. For all the basketball and conference news from around the Big East, www.bigeast.org. You have that one bookmarked?
I have that one. One of my favorites. Don't go too deep on me with the computer talk, though, you know. I'll have to bring my kids over.
I was about to say, ask your 17-year-old.
That's it, 15. The 12 or the 10, they're all pretty sharp. I'm sure you're, how old is the 3-year-old at home? I'm sure she's okay with that.
She likes pushing the numbers and letters on the keyboard.
There you go.
I've not signed on to bigeast.org just yet. It's about 2 years away.
2-0 Wiggins for Rutgers.
Play just over 4 minutes. Second half from the rack. Villanova. Right from the outset, they led 10-0. It's now a 21-point game. Snowden is called for his second personal. Another timeout on the floor. Overturned after these messages.
Air conditioning.
Well, a sellout crowd tonight here at the Rack, over 8,000. Third sellout of the season, but their hopes have been dashed by the Villanova Wildcats, who have hit 10 3-point field goals. Villanova shooting 58% from the field, and they are out-rebounding Rutgers 24-16.
Yeah, they have come in convincing fashion to start this basketball game off, and Gary Waters keeps pushing different buttons over there and trying to get his guys to get some kind of rhythm at the offensive end. But right now it's going to start at the defensive end because they really need to pick it up there and try to get a couple of steals when they give up the basketball. Wow, lazy pass.
And the foul is called on Coleman, Jerome Coleman of Rutgers. It's his first. Schedule's not get any easier for the Scarlet Knights. They will travel down to the nation's capital, take on Georgetown on Monday.
And here's that lazy pass. Sullivan comes out and gets a finger on it. And that's a correct call right there because he had control in the path to the basketball. Good hands there by Wright with the reach around. Moving his feet first. Let's go. See what kind of life you can get out of the Rutgers defensive effort right now.
Snowden gets it in. Quick three. Buchanan. Rebounded by Kareem Wright. 4.5 in second half. Villanova by 21. Shields driving. Buchanan. Outlet pass. Snowden. Great look. Oh, what a pass for Wright.
Snowden really read that play perfectly, and one of the major reasons was he found two guys squeezing on him, but that extra dribble made sure that both defenders got on top of him, allowing Wright to just really be all by himself.
Biggest lead of the game for Villanova. 23. Wiggins. Nice move to the hoop.
And also to avoid the charge, Wiggin had to go to his left at the very end of that play. Not putting a whole lot of steam in the crowd, though, yet. Look at this. Nice moving there. Wright kind of guided the defender away. Buchanan finishes it off.
And the Rutgers Scarlet Knights continue to hear it from the crowd. They lost only 2 at home last year in 17 games. Already dropped 3 this season. 6-3 on their home floor. And unless we see a miraculous turn of events, Rutgers' home record will drop to 6-4. Foul called on Sherrod. It's his third, so Sherrod, Wright, and Lamazana have all committed 3 personal fouls for Rutgers, and Exati has 4.
All of a sudden, that clock starts to be your major enemy. 14 and change, but check out those numbers right there. 10 minutes.
Speaking of numbers, he's wearing a new number. He had some blood on his jersey. Discarded uniform number 1, now wearing number 40.
Right up your alley, too, isn't it? Let's see if the number 40 works any magic for Rutgers here.
Well, he committed the 3 personals wearing number 1. We'll see if the new jersey brings a change of luck.
Not only that, maybe he's hoping that they don't see his old number. And avoid those fouls.
No name on his back.
Who was that guy, huh?
Buchanan sits down. Alan Ray has checked in for Villanova. They've scored 70. 8-1 this season when reaching 70 points.
Well, you're going to start the Kenny Albert track of what happens with the Lamazana's New Jersey now, right? This is a new ball game the way you think?
We'll leave that to our statistician, John Lamazana. Lamazana.
There you go. I hope people are getting these fine, dry humor comments of yours.
Jason Frazier commits his 3rd. Frazier and Lamazana have kind of canceled each other out.
Yeah, they have. And Rutgers goes up 1-0 with the new uniform. That would be a story. But they need to really figure out a way in these last 14 minutes to make this, put the effort out. You know, sometimes you have flat evenings as a basketball team. A lot of times, if you have 7 or 8 guys deep, sometimes when you're flat, you have 4 or 5 guys playing flat. Unfortunately for Rutgers, this has been contagious for the most part. A couple efforts by certain players, like Wooten has given them a nice lift at spurts.
Snowden wide open, off the mark from 3. 23-point game. Villanova leading 70-47.
Lamazana catching the ball way out.
A steal by Snowden, and he takes it all the way.
Wooten looked away and did not protect the basketball, and Snowden is just too fast and too deceptive to keep that ball in front of him like that. A nice little flick from the bottom up.
Villanova back up by 25. Wiggin will head to the line. Foul committed by Randy Foy. It's his 3rd.
Nice little push there, too, with Snowden. Got the ball going in his direction by flicking and pushing it. It's almost like an extended outlet pass off the first touch. That allowed him to get the motors going pretty quickly.
Here's Wiggin to the line. Sophomore out of the Bronx, Columbus High School.
Curtis Sumter enters for Villanova.
Randy Foy will sit down, replaced by Curtis Sumter. Wiggin hits 1 of 2, now has 5 points off the bench. Sumter, Frazier, Ray, Snowden, and Sullivan on the floor for the Wildcats. A steal by Lamazana. And then he slows things down.
It's almost the way it's gone for Rutgers. An opportunity for him to get a dunk on that one, just couldn't gather it in.
Coleman short, rebounded by Sumter.
I would expect Villanova now to really sit on this basketball, take the shot clock down as much as they possibly can, around the 10 seconds.
Sullivan pulls it back out. Shot clock now at 15. Fans can't count him down from 5 when it was actually a 12. And Wright comes up with the steal. Here's Wooten ahead of the field.
For some reason, I think Ray bit on that also. Forced that action just a little bit. But overall, though, Jay Wright's team has really been under control for most of the way, especially the young players.
Villanova shooting 59%. They turn it over again. Coleman from 3.
See if Jay Wright calls timeout right now. Yep, there it is.
Third three-point field goal for Jerome Coleman. And Jay Wright wants to talk things over. An 8-2 run by Rutgers as they cut the 25-point deficit down to 19.
Jay Wright wants to get into his players' heads right now to make sure that they don't get careless with the basketball. He's just seen that 8-2 run that you just mentioned, Kenny, and a little bit of worry, not too much at this particular point, but he knows he wants to stifle it right away. And at the other end with Rutgers, Gary Waters is just going to focus on guys, we're making a little run, let's continue as you take a look at this upcoming schedule for them. You know, a couple of ats right there. Georgetown, tough to get your wins there, but at West Virginia also, so it's not easy for Rutgers. And you know, you back it up with Syracuse. Seton Hall starting to play fairly well at home too. Today against Miami, earlier against Georgetown.
Rutgers has lost their last 3 overall. They were 8-4 in non-conference play. 0-2 in the Big East. Both losses to top 10 clubs, Pitt and Notre Dame. Sumter, nice positioning down low.
Frazier has shown that as a big guy, he likes to pass the ball and can pass it very nicely. That's his second solid pass into the interior this evening.
Offensive foul. It's Kareem Wright battling with Ricky Wright, and it's number 4 on Kareem. McShanny also has committed 4 personals. A timeout on the floor with 11:15 remaining in the second half from the rack. Villanova leading Rutgers by 21. Villanova by 21. Time now to take a look at Shooting the Rock, one of Jim Spanarkel's favorite fast times. Brought to you by Rolling Rock. Grab a rock.
Are you insinuating something there? Yeah, you take a look at these numbers at 60%. You know, surprising to me, Kenny, is the 45% with Rutgers. You know, if I had to guess, I would have guessed a little bit less than that. But clearly it has been nothing short of remarkable the way Nova has been shooting the basketball tonight.
And when you look at that 60% shooting on the Villanova side, you factor in the 10 three-point field goals, and the percentage is even higher.
Exactly, yeah. I mean, it's just been remarkable with the way they've been really. And I think the one thing, too, the poise that they're showing as a young team. I mean, they're not really rattled. A lot of times when you get a young team with a big lead like this, they start taking bad shots because they figure, all right, we got this game over. We can do whatever we want. Their shots have been very good.
Sumter, nice touch.
Right on cue, too, huh?
Well, when I spoke to Jay Wright last night, he said our guys are not afraid of playing in front of tough crowds. And he used as an example the game in Memphis in front of 18,000 fans. Tough crowd in Dayton, Madison Square Garden, Alaska. They've played in front of some hostile crowds this season.
A few times that I've done a game down here at Rutgers in the rack where it's been just non-existent, the crowd noise, really. Right from the beginning of this basketball game, if you remember, Kenny, when the fouls started to be called by the officials in the first 3 minutes, more of them went against the Rutgers team as you take a look at a lot of the red shirts, but not real lively tonight.
I would think for the folks in red shirts, it was a surreal first 4 minutes as Villanova took a 10-0 lead. Rutgers committed 7 turnovers, foul after foul after foul.
Yeah, next thing you know, it was kind of like, is this game over? Is it not over? We're trying to figure it out as fans and broadcasters, and I'm sure the Rutgers bench and team were trying to figure it out. The only one that really had it figured out was Jay Wright and his Nova squad.
7 points now for Foy. Villanova up by 25. They led at the half, 54-37. Shields is fouled by Frazier, and that is his 4th. For more extracurricular activity.
The end of that play just then, Shields kind of swinging his arm to release from Frazier. Frazier with his 4th foul. Watch at the end of this play. Now they go up. There's the foul. And now they push him. And so I'm not sure if he thought. I think that one was against Frazier there to start with. He instigated that one because I thought maybe on the drive Shields may have done something in the air, but he did not.
Shields getting set now for the second free throw. Shields had hit 19 in a row before missing the first, so his streak comes to an end. Shields leading the way for Rutgers tonight with 14 points.
That extra pass.
Three-point shooting percentage has gone down for Villanova here in the second half. They hit 9 of 14 in the first half, only 1 for 6 since halftime. Foul called on Allen Ray.
10
his
minutes,
third.
10 minutes now. Watch. You know, if you watch this here, there's action here, but watch as he goes by. If you can keep going, watch the arm come up with Shields there even. You know, I mean, this is getting, that's why the officials are going to start blowing the whistle, I think, right now. What you have is one team that's really dominating, obviously, and another team that clearly is not playing up to their ability on this particular evening, so it's frustrating. And when guys get in the mix still, you have to be careful because the frustration forces you to do things you don't want to do.
Offensive foul as Sumter amidst the charge, knocking Lamazana down.
Good sacrifice of the body there by Lamazana. Did he catch him in the face a little bit? Looks like it. He's holding on to his mouth a bit.
Wildcats ninth, team foul. Gary Buchanan returns for Villanova.
There's a good strong drive to the basket. Yeah, he catches it right in the chin. And that's why he was holding the mouth, in the chin area.
He was bleeding earlier, which led to changing jerseys. Foul called on Derek Snowden. It's his third. So Ricky Shields will head back to the free throw line. He's hit 31 of his last 33 from the charity stripe. Streak of 19 in a row came to an end moments ago. Sophomore out of Upper Marlboro, Maryland. Snowden sits down with the three personals, has 7 points. Going over by 23, under 10 minutes left from the rack. We talked about Rutgers' upcoming schedule. Up next for Villanova, they will look to end a 6-game losing streak against Boston College when they take on the Eagles at home on Wednesday.
Boston College with a nice win this week against NC State.
Nice follow by Sumter.
Yeah, the fans, I think, some of them have seen enough, Kenny. Some of them are about a minute or two started to get up and head to the exits.
Rutgers will not be home again for another 11 days. Matchup with Syracuse after 2 on the road at Georgetown and West Virginia. Reach-in foul. Coleman committing his second.
Well, early on in the Big East, Jay Wright and the Villanova Wildcats have something special going on here. They're young, they're competitive, they're fairly deep. They don't seem to be frazzled, especially the young players. They look like they've been through the wars, huh? It's not really affecting them.
And the senior leadership from Buchanan and Wright.
Snowden giving them a bounce also. And they get an interesting squad. I mean, it's still a long way to go in the conference play.
Here's Buchanan, one of the best free throw shooters in the history of college basketball.
Like a machine at the line. Although the other night I did see him miss a shot at the Garden. They were playing St. John's. There was a period of time for about 8 minutes where the free throw shooting was about as bad as I've ever seen college shooters shoot free throws, but then down the stretch, they came on strongly. Villanova to really start hitting shots down the stretch. They made their last 13 in that ball game to beat St. John's.
And if Buchanan missed one, you know things were pretty bad.
Right, exactly. That's why we were working with Dave Sims that night. We were both stunned when he missed it. We knew it was a bad night for free throw shooters.
Buchanan from 3. Villanova now leading by 30. They've hit 11 three-point field goals, which matches the Big East high this season. Providence made 11 at Boston College 2 weeks ago. Villanova 11 for 21 from downtown, and Gary Waters calls timeout. A 30-second timeout, 8.5 to play. It's Villanova leading by 30.
This timeout just may be hey guys, take a look at the clock. We have 8 minutes and 32 seconds left. Guess what? We have to play this out right now. You want to keep your dignity and work hard and show what you're made out of. Let's show it for the last 8 minutes and 32 seconds. And granted, he's not saying we can win this basketball game right now, but he wants to make sure they walk off this court with their dignity kept and some pride leaving the floor tonight.
High hopes following the 18-win season a year ago here at Rutgers. As we mentioned, Villanova will host Boston College. Eagles have won their last 6 over the Wildcats. That's this Wednesday. And then Jay Wright's squad will travel up to UConn.
That's a backcourt violation.
Turnover number 16 committed by Rutgers. And the sellout crowd here at Rutgers, many have started to head for the exits.
The loyal ones will hang tonight, I think, till the end, but it's tough. It's just one of those nights, not to make light of it. You look at the turnover numbers. It's just, you know, if you've played basketball for long periods of time, you're going to have nights like this. It's just surprising that all of them, pretty much, a couple of guys here and there, but for the most part, it was just a flat effort.
I know you didn't suffer through many, but when you think back to your collegiate career, were you ever on the losing end of a game like this?
You know, when you ask me that question, Kenny, collegiately, I'm sure I was, but I can remember in the NBA one night down in Houston where we scored, I think, 58 points in a game when I was with that powerhouse expansion Dallas Mavericks team. It was a very long evening, and you have them. It's just part of playing the sport.
How many of the 58 did you score?
Let's not go into that.
36?
I wish I could say that. I think I was a little off that night myself.
How many wins for the expansion Mavs?
We won our first game that year back in 1980-81 and ended up with a whopping 15 it was.
It's 1 out of every 6.
I got you.
But you won the first.
That's it. It's a long year, though.
Where was that game?
That was at home against Iceman George Gervin. We shut him down that night. Then he came back. Next time we played him in San Antonio, and had about 54 against us.
Sullivan in and out. Sumter was fouled.
And they just continue to attack the offensive glass. Even up close to 30 points. Life is still there on the offensive glass for Villanova.
Kareem Wright has fouled out. Wright commits his 5th personal with 7:53 remaining. Sits down with 6 points, 2 rebounds.
There's the grab. It was the grab before the shot that he got called for, not on the shot. But at this point, we're way over the bonus and into the bonus, so it'll be a 1-on-1 opportunity.
Curtis Sumter, MVP of the Catholic League in New York City last season out of Bishop Lachlan High School.
I like the way, too, that Jay Wright keeps a balance, generally speaking. Now, I know it goes, sometimes it's not always going to work in his favor, but he generally keeps a balance of experienced guys with the youngsters on the floor.
Balance throughout tonight's game. It's a 30-point Villanova advantage. Villanova leading Rutgers by 30. Time now, Jim, to take a look at the BMW Ultimate Drive of the game.
And this really says it all. Gary Buchanan with a little bit of a shield by Wright. Ricky Wright down low. And drives that one right to the basket. And it's kind of the way it's gone for Rutgers, and obviously the way it's been going for Villanova here with 7:53 left in this basketball game. The clock can't disappear quick enough for RU.
Not to pile on Rutgers, but at this point you start to think about Villanova's biggest Big East wins ever as they lead this one by 30. They defeated Pittsburgh back in February of '96 by 33 points, and that was their biggest conference win since joining the Big East 21 years ago.
Rutgers trying to pick up the full court action. Watch out, folks. 4 or 5 rows deep, that ball. The little guy's going to handle it.
And the worst conference loss ever suffered by Rutgers, a 31-point defeat at the hands of Georgetown in December of '96.
Unfortunately, that's about the only thing Rutgers has to worry about right now. How bad is the final score going to be on this game?
And the most lopsided Big East game ever, as Shields is off the mark. Most lopsided Big East game is Exani fouls out. Did not involve either of these two schools. Back in January of 1985, January 16th, 18 years ago this past Thursday, Georgetown defeated Providence 85-44, 41-point spread, and that was the most lopsided Big East game ever. Just in case you were wondering,
I was starting to wonder, actually, as a matter of fact. Good information right there.
In case you're asked tomorrow, where does this one rank in Big East annals?
Villanova annals and Rutgers, and we don't mean to be making light of it, but look at this tonight, 87 points. And
just presenting the facts.
That's it.
Marcus Austin, 13 first-half points, adding on to his career high. 14 off the bench for the Wildcats sophomore.
Kenny, I also made a comment. I think it was about 1 minute and 30 seconds or so left in the first half. When Villanova had 51 points. I mentioned in the Big East they were averaging 85. I said, they probably won't get to the century mark. There's a ton of time left in this basketball game. There's a shot that they'll hit the 100-point mark.
And the last time they've done that in a non-overtime game in Big East play was under Rolly Massimino during the 89-90 season at Providence. They scored 102 points. Last time Villanova scored 100 in a non-overtime game.
A wealth of numbers tonight.
John Lombardati, he's working overtime tonight. Late start. Child in the front row behind Jay Wright has missed most of the second half.
As a Rutgers fan, maybe she has seen or he has seen enough tonight.
Well, just witnessed Lamazana's first point of the evening. Lamazana 1 of 2 from the line, kept alive by Shields. Wiggin from 3. Shields another rebound.
Just can't find it. Spread the court.
6.5 remaining. Villanova with the numbers. Frazier called for steps.
It's one that Frazier's going to have to take right to the basket. Little hesitation for him just then, but he will learn.
Wiggin takes it all the way.
Showing a little spurt there.
And Jay Wright not happy with his club, letting Wiggin go coast to coast. 30-second timeout called by the 41-year-old Villanova head coach, Jay Wright. That's about as upset as you will see a coach when his team's leading by 29.
Well, you know now, if you got Jay's head right now, part of this is the act for the next game, Kenny. He's up 29 points.
Part of it or all of it?
Well, probably all of it. You're right. I mean, sending a message to them that we don't lay down. If you want to lay down, don't play for me type of thing. You know, I'll pull you right out of this basketball game as you take a look at his success that he had at Hofstra before coming to Villanova.
3 consecutive 20-win seasons.
But he's just laying the land. You know, the way we play, the message I want to send to my team, how we're going to play each and every minute on the floor. I don't want you looking at the scoreboard, all the cliches. He probably got a bunch of them out just then.
And there is a bit of a Hofstra connection on his bench. Michael Claxton, a freshman out of Hempstead, Long Island. The brother of Craig Speedy Claxton, former Hofstra star under Jay Wright, now with the aforementioned San Antonio Spurs. Former Philadelphia 76er.
Put up 28, I believe, last night, didn't he?
Did he?
Yeah, I believe he had a big night. I think it was last night. This game has been so long and so tough, it could have been a couple of nights ago now that I think about it, the way it feels.
That's true. Michael Claxton has played in 6 games. Joel Wiggin called for the personal. Also on Villanova's bench, although he has not yet appeared in a game and may redshirt, is Baker Dunleavy.
There you go.
Son of Mike Dunleavy.
who happened to be in attendance the other night with Villanova at Madison Square Garden playing St. John's.
%92 in his career. Oh, he missed one.
What's going on?
Now 5 of 6 tonight. That'll bring down the percentage. Wigan slashing in the lane.
Wigan's still playing hard. That message that we talked about at the 8-minute mark with Gary Waters with his team was, you know, keep your dignity and play hard. He's got them going. They're still playing hard. This one was over a long time ago, but watch out. A lot of fan participation tonight. The usher with a good catch.
That came very close to that sleeping baby. About 2 seats away.
You're right.
I think she's up. I think she's awake.
She's awake. At least being held a little more tightly, though.
Well, maybe still asleep.
There you go.
Wigan hits. And we'll head to the free throw line.
Scoring the basket. Villanova foul number 34, Curtis Sumter. That's his 4th personal foul.
You're right, Jim. Wigan's still playing hard.
Yeah, and he's going after it. He's just trying to send the message to Gary Waters. He told us you want us to play hard to finish this basketball game out. I'm going to listen to you and do my best.
Gary Buchanan returns for
12 points for Wigan. 5:18 remaining, 25-point game.
Jay Wright trying to figure this out. And Rutgers chipping into the lead a little bit.
Lamazana with his first field goal.
And Frazier with his 4 fouls wanted to stay away that trip.
Ricky Wright dishing off for Frazier. Doesn't get the roll. Got his own rebound and was fouled.
It may have been Wigan from behind. Lamazana had a pretty good strip of that basketball just then underneath.
It is number 2 on Wigan. Sending Jason Frazier, the freshman out of Amityville, Long Island, to the free throw line. Won 4 New York State Class B championships during his high school career. Then he thought he was headed to St. John's. And then signed with Villanova.
One of the many young players on this basketball team for Villanova. Jay Wright and company doing a great job recruiting. Fred Hill, one of his assistants, gets involved with that also.
Fred Hill, whose father is the baseball coach here at Rutgers.
A little bit of a homecoming for Fred.
Uncle Brian, former NBA head coach.
Always well prepared.
Jay Wright, Brett Gunning. Over from Hofstra. Joe Jones has done a tremendous job. Ricky Shields now at 17 points. The lead Rutgers.
Trying to make this respectable.
Buchanan from 3.
Why not? That's the way this game started. Buchanan still with the stroke.
Buchanan's 6th 3-point field goal today. And Frazier commits his 5th personal. Jason Frazier has fouled out with 4:23 remaining. And Villanova leading by 25.
Just continues to shoot the basketball, and with each score, with each long-range bomb, more and more people seem to be heading for the exits here in the rack.
Jason McCoy, sophomore out of Houston, Texas, now just 3 of 8 from the free throw line this season. McCoy missing both. Ray, headman pass for Wright. And he's fouled. That's number 4 on Lamazana.
Now, one of the things about Wright, I mean, he will go after the basketball and then take it right to the rack. And here at the rack, he has really shown that he's not afraid to challenge one of the best shot blockers in the United States. Lamazana, number 6 in the country presently, and number 2 in the Big East. They're inching their way up, aren't they? Inching their way up to 100 points.
5 away. Still 5 away.
Thank you.
From 3 from the corner, Calvin Wooten.
Wooten has given them a spark tonight. Has played well, I thought, overall. One of the few guys consistently with his minutes on the floor has played well for Rutgers.
Wooten and Wigan off the bench.
There you go.
Lamazana, early foul trouble, has scored just 3 points. Mike Sherrod, only 2 points. McSally, just 1 point. So 3 of the 5 starters scored a combined 6 points for Rutgers.
Not going to get it done, and neither did Duke today.
And I know it pains you to say that.
It really does. My favorite team, Arizona, won, though.
Number 3 Pitt defeating Syracuse at home this afternoon. 5th-ranked Oklahoma by 10 over Iowa State. North Carolina upsetting number 6 UConn. Here at the rack, it's Villanova, still 5 away from the century mark, Jim.
Just where we left it a moment ago.
Leading by 23. Make it 21 as Shields lays it in.
Actually, at the desperation of Rutgers right now in the full court action.
And Sullivan stepped out of bounds. 3:37 to go. Tonight's game is brought to you by BMW. Test drive the ultimate driving machine at your local BMW center. .337 remaining. Kenny Albert, Jim Spanarkel from the rack. Villanova has led right from the outset. They scored the first 10 points of the game. They forced 7 Rutgers turnovers the first 4 minutes. And lead by 21.
And I think Jay Wright just sent the same type of message to his team that Gary Waters did a couple of moments ago to his. Start picking up your pace, guys. This is going to get embarrassing.
Wigan off the mark from 3. Jason McCoy on the follow.
Now it's 36 minutes of great basketball by Villanova. In the last 3 or 4, they want to make sure they finish up strongly with a good effort.
Reach in called on McCoy, his second.
Jason McCoy, his second personal foul.
So Randy Foy will head to the line. Quite a homecoming. State Player of the Year out of Newark East Side. One of the 4 heralded freshmen on this Villanova roster. Playing in his first collegiate game in his home state. And his team leads by 30. They led by 30.
That's right.
It's now 20.
Now 20.
Nine points for Foy with just over 3 minutes to play. Wooten from 3. Shields, Lamazana. Wooten, it's good. Offensive foul.
And Ricky Wright holding down the turf underneath the basket.
When you look at what Wooten and Wigan have done, how important is it for Gary Waters to be able to take those 2 positives out of this game?
Well, I think at this particular point you reach for any positive you can, but he's, you know, with Wooten in particular, young player, just needs him to really grow as a player, and I think tonight, you know, it's a turning point. Sometimes you take these opportunities, get playing time, and you learn from it. And you work with young guys, and I think it's just one of those things that Gary Waters right now is, you know, what is he going to do? He's going to go in and he's going to yell a little bit at them and then just try to forget it and say, guys, we got to get ready for tomorrow's practice and shake this one as quickly as possible.
And then look ahead to the Georgetown Hoyas on Monday on the road.
And that's maybe the beauty of it. That game is only a couple of days away, right? Instead of it being 5 or 6 days away. I wouldn't want to be a player on Rutgers and have 6 or 7 days between games after this one. It's too long to think about it. We come back Monday, and tomorrow Gary Waters will bring this team in here and just as if nothing happened tonight, try to shake it quickly.
Fans chanting Woot every time Wooten touches the ball, and he now has 21, 5 3-point field goals.
I will tell you this, he can shoot the basketball, there's no question about that.
Allen Ray pulls up and hits.
101 for those of you scoring at home. 54 at the half.
Wooten again from 3.
As I said, Kenny, he could shoot the basketball, can he?
8 of 13 today, including 5 of 6 from 3-point land.
Well, he's getting that good lift underneath him. Squaring off, and take a look at the 101 points tonight at Big East season high. Nice stay there by Wooten.
Wiggin now with 14 off the bench. So Rutgers chipping away with 1:45 remaining.
Yeah, that could have been right over the back.
It was.
That's a good call.
So Rutgers with an opportunity to cut the Villanova lead to 13.
It's incredible that what you just stated just then. I never thought they'd get it down under 20 the way this thing was going when it was up in the 30 range.
I think Jay Wright's happy there are not 5 minutes left. Only 1:44.
You're absolutely correct on that one. I don't think there's enough steam left in Rutgers or enough time on the clock for them to pull this thing off, but they really have Jay Wright walking and pacing down there. Former coach of Villanova, Steve Lapis, used to go up and down on the treadmill almost on the sidelines. Jay is picking up on that a little bit right now. He's been moving pretty much the last 3 or 4 minutes of this game.
Steve now doing it up at UMass. 3-on-1, Villanova with the numbers, and Sumter misses the slam.
I'll tell you, Kenny, you are absolutely right. If there were 4 or 5 minutes left in this basketball game,
Lamazana with the fadeaway gets the roll.
now they're getting everything to go. It's just a crazy game, isn't it, basketball?
Rutgers within 12. Fans wanted to travel.
Leaving the young players pretty much out there, too. Grabbing the shirt, they're not calling it.
And Foy hits. He now has 11. Lamazana looking for Wooten on the inbounds, threw it away.
Jay Wright is livid because he just caught what I saw from up here. Somebody was grabbing the shirt of Foy. I didn't catch who it was, and that's what he's screaming at the officials for. He doesn't want to see anybody get hurt. And now the fans will let him have it just for calling this timeout.
1:04 remaining. How often do you see a regulation Big East game with a score such as this one?
Not too often, right? Look at it. 1:03. Here's the grab of the jersey. That's what Jay Wright wanted to call for. Foy just strides right into his shot, knocks it down. I can see Jay Wright's point, though. I mean, this game, I think, safely in the bag for them, but does not want to see one of his players have some kind of freak injury. Neither one of the coaches want to see that. And I'm sure the officials are also in their head trying to let this clock disappear as much as possible.
.104 remaining. over the 100-point mark in a non-overtime conference game for the first time since the 89-90 season when they scored 102 points at Providence.
They've been consistent, huh? 54 in the first half. I mean, it's just about at that here in the second half, the way this has been going for them.
Amazana ties up Ray. Villanova will retain possession.
Officials just have to blow the whistles now, Kenny, just to keep this thing clean, make sure nothing happens.
Wright lost the handle. Rutgers basketball. Down to 58 seconds.
So now there's interesting dynamics here with this game for Villanova too, Kenny. They played so well, and now do they walk out of this building a little rattled that they didn't finish it? Young guys may not linger, but it's not all positive for Villanova right now.
Foul called on McCoy of Rutgers, his third. Villanova led by as many as 32 in this second half. Their lead now is 14 with 47 seconds remaining.
And it is clear to say that this final score will be very deceiving with the way this basketball game has been played tonight, because don't be misled, folks. This has really been a dominating performance up until the last 4 minutes of this basketball game by the Wildcats.
13 for Foy, 10 of the 13 coming here in the second half. 16-point game as Villanova will make it 4-0 in conference play. Rutgers will drop to 0-3. Ray pulls it back out.
There's 1 second differential, so we'll have to throw a shot up there or just turn the basketball over.
Shields commits his second. The Big East record for combined points in one game is 227. Less than a year ago, Georgetown and Notre Dame. Most points by one team. Pittsburgh scored 117 against Providence in February of 1990. Villanova now at 106 as Jay Wright empties the bench. Andreas Block and Lou Ruski have checked in.
Well, we're not going to get to those records, but this has been a pretty good performance at the offensive end for a team that had been averaging 85 points a game in their first 3 Big East basketball games, and clearly with 107 on the board right now, that average is going to go up.
The last time Villanova scored as many as 107 points was back in January of 1982 against LaSalle. So this their highest output in over 20 years.
I didn't have children back then. And I have 4 at home.
Neither did I. And I may have 2. I don't even know. I had 1 when I left for today's game.
That's right. And good luck, by the way, with that. Expecting what, within the next week, hopefully?
Any minute.
Good luck to you.
Thank you. Villanova 110. Rutgers 89 the final.
Convincing. Jay Wright's squad has 36 minutes of extraordinary basketball. Gary Buchanan with a big-time night stepped up and knocked it back. The first 2 threes of this basketball game got his team on a roll, and boy, they didn't look back at all really, except for a couple of bad minutes in the last few minutes of this basketball game.
6 3-point field goals for Buchanan. Villanova hits 12 of 22 from downtown. 4-0 in conference play, 11-5 overall. Rutgers 0-3 in the Big East, 8-7 overall. Buchanan led the way for the Wildcats with 27. Villanova had 6 players in double figures, 4 in double figures for Rutgers, led by the freshman out of Detroit, Calvin Wooten, 24 off the bench. including 6 3-point field goals. So the final score from the rack, Villanova 110 and Rutgers 89.
Well, a team, Villanova, that came in with a good balanced load of scoring, finishes it with a nice load of balanced scoring. So all around, Jay Wright's team very, very convincing.
10th most points in Villanova history. For Jim Spadarkle and our entire crew, Kenny Albert saying so long from the rack. This has been a presentation of ESPN Plus, the worldwide leader in collegiate sports television.